Hi, I'm Suzanne Castle, and this is the Thought Leader Thursday. I'm here today introducing you to another incredible leader, thinker, doer, and all-around amazing human who's going to help each of us think about our world a little bit differently than anyone else. From artists to teachers, from actors to moms, from the big names to the you didn't know about them till now names, my hope is that you will connect with a leader who helps you light up in your corner of this galaxy. This is the Thought Leader Thursday show. Hi, I'm Suzanne. Welcome back to the Thought Leader Thursday. I cannot wait for you to meet a guest who literally, just get ready, hang on to something. Your hair is going to be on fire by the end of this. But first and foremost, we're going to throw it to Andrew. Andrew, Thrive is a really hot concept right now. You're hearing it in a lot of different places. It's from magazines to wellness products, etc. So what does Thrive really mean to you?
Yeah, so Thrive means to me living your best self, living your healthiest self, kind of keeping yourself in a healthy mindset in life, and kind of being happy. That's what it means to me.
I think that's fabulous, and I couldn't have asked for a better way to begin this show because we have a Thrive expert with us today. There's an advantage, I think, when you grow up in humble settings like our guest, with meager means like our guest. And Jay is going to tell you all about how to thrive instead of just survive. He rose to great success with amazing excellence. He is fired up to help people thrive. And for the last 3 decades, JAY MAYMI has yielded an impressive array of accomplishments, from things like multiple successful businesses to bodybuilding championships. He's on the radio. He's been on TV. You've seen him on stage. He's got print worth several different books. I think there's 5 or so, maybe 6. I could be wrong. He does lots of in the world of sales and personal development. He speaks in front of all kinds of diverse audiences on different topics. He's engaging. He's real. He's honest. He's funny, and he's here. And I am so excited. He will help everyone that comes in contact with him rise to the best version of themselves. And that is why I asked him to come and drop amazing knowledge bombs on us today. His servant heart is huge. His radio show is a knockout hit. And I'm so honored, Jay, to have you here with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be on your show. Your show is rock solid, and it attracts incredible people because you're an incredible host. So really the honor is mine.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Here's the deal. You have this really interesting concept called Thriveology. And we met at a networking event. There were some NFL stars in the room, speakers with high caliber stages. There was entrepreneurs, business owners, finance people, all kinds of people. And lo and behold, we end up at a table with your amazing square business card, and we just start chatting. And sometimes you just feel the energy of another human, and you know that in some way, shape, or form, you're going to get to do things together. And that's the way I feel about you. You were clear and concise and engaging. And I know you were rocking it like the very next day going, how can we do something together? How can we partner with each other? What can we do to help each other? That's part of your magic around thriving instead of surviving. And this whole concept that you're building out on Thriveology. Would you tell people tuning in a little bit more about Thriveology?
Yeah, I think, by the way, it really was amazing the day that you and I met. And if there's any testimonials to the idea of Thriveology, us meeting really is a testimony to that, because when we connected, it was almost an immediate frequency matching, a matching of frequencies rather, because you're a thriver, I'm a thriver. And the one thing about thrivers and this idea of Thriveology is you don't waste time when the opportunity strikes. And I think part of the concept of Thriveology is that you're intentional about making things happen when the opportunity presents itself. Absolutely. Not sort of taking time to think about it, because if you take too much time to think about it, the moment will pass, the season is over, and that window that opened may never open again. Thrivers aren't interested in missing the window. And when you and I met, you're right. It was like, hey, we need to do something. We need to connect. We've got this vibe thing going. And the very next day we spoke, and then you came on our show and you rocked it there. And here we are doing some things together on your show. And it's just the early indication of what's to come. But that's the idea of Thriveology. It's about taking action by intention with strategy, making sure that you get up in the morning with a plan. And that plan is, I'm not going to survive. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And things are going to change because I demand them to change. I'm bending the will of the universe so that things can change on my behalf, in my favor. Right now, at this moment, I'm meeting the right people at the right time for the right reasons, at the right places. I'm being guided to that because I'm thrive-minded, and that's what I want to experience in my life. I want to thrive, and that's what Thriveology is all about.
I mean, already, like I mean, I knew I'd be blown away. I kid you not. I have goosebumps everywhere because that's part of your genius. You really draw people into saying, okay, if how you're feeling right now is not what you want to be, if you don't wake up and get excited every single day, then the choice is yours to change something. And I think that's part of your brilliance, is kind of this change management that you do. And I mean, you're a glorious butt kicker, which is wonderful, but you also do it in very kind of soft ways. So, I mean, while we realize we're getting our butt kicked from behind, right, you're also leading us from the front. And it really is a lot of what I don't see happening in the greater sphere and in the greater world. So I know a lot of the work that you do is in the sales space, and you do really great, amazing sales training. So I'm just putting in a plug right now. Go to his website. The show notes are going to have the link, and check out his course. Check out the next time he's going to be doing a workshop and jump on that. But I know that you're seeing kind of a shift, and sometimes it's a subtle shift in the sales industry away from, I think, you know, my fear is always being salesy Susie, right? And I think we're beginning to seeing a shift to that in serving over selling. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, because there's two things I've seen, and I've been selling since I was 13 years old. I grew up in Spanish Harlem in New York City, a place called El Barrio, and I wouldn't endorse it as any luxury resort vacationing spot. I wouldn't do that to anyone who's interested in looking for a resort vacation spot. You go to the Barrio if you want to learn how to run fast. That's why you would go there, or walk fast. You wouldn't go there to vacation. So, but this is where I grew up. Right. This is where I grew up, and we grew up, as you mentioned earlier, with meager means. So by 13 years old, if I wanted to have the latest pair of sneakers, the Jordache jeans, remember the Jordache jeans, right? And the Nike sneakers, and I couldn't ask my parents to do it. My father already worked 3 jobs. My mother was a stay-at-home mom, and I'm an adopted twin, so it just was very difficult times economically. So at 13 years old, if I wanted to buy those nice things and be as cool as the other kids, I had to figure out a way to make money.
Right.
I couldn't ask my parents for it. So that developed in me an entrepreneurial spirit, but more importantly, it gave me a chance to start understanding service and sales, and being able to meet the needs of people, but not just meet the needs of people, be able to give them an indication that you're someone that can be trusted to provide that service. But it's not just that alone. It's being able to lead people down the path that allows them to make better decisions, because most people need to be led. Most people aren't going to arrive at a good decision all on their own. Very few people do. So the talent of a good sales ninja, somebody who's considered a sales master, is someone who can lead somebody to make a decision that's in their best interest, and then provide the service along the way. That's the true epitome of sales. So what I see happening today are 2 things, and they're very different. I do see people starting to recognize that it has to come with a servant's heart. You really have to provide the other person's best interest first. It can't be your best interest, because whenever you focus on your best interest, the end result is disastrous for the client, and potentially legally could lead you in some legal hot waters as well if you are focused on your best interests and not theirs. So I do see a shift in that. But what I don't see a shift in, and this is the reason why I came up with the course, I don't see enough sales professionals. And let me just say what a sales professional is, or salesperson. It's anybody who's trying to communicate their point of view to another person where there is a measure of persuasion. If I'm trying to persuade you to my point of view, then whether it's a transactional event, where there's money involved, or an exchange of monetary value, it's irrelevant. I'm trying to persuade you to see my point of view. That happens in politics, that happens in ministry, that happens in anything you're trying to get somebody to see your point of view. That's sales, right?
Right.
So what I see that a lot of people don't really focus on is how to get better.
Yep.
And your a person's current skill, and I say this to every person that I meet, your current skills only they will only lead you as far as you've gotten right now. If you're going to get to the next level of communication, persuasion, and sales, if that's the business you're in, then the only way that happens is by you getting better. You're getting serious about getting better. And if you think that you will get to another level of income, of freedom, of quality of life, living for you and your family, and more results, more performance with the same you operating on those same skills, then you are what I call suffering from a disease called EDD. Now, I got to be careful when I say that, because sometimes people think EDD is the wrong EDD. It's not the EDD you might be thinking about. What I'm talking about is entrepreneurial delusion disorder.
Yes.
You are delusional to think that you'll arrive at the next level without ratcheting up your ability to communicate better, sell better, and understand psychology and how that plays a big part in providing someone quality sales service and providing them the help that they need based on where they're at. I don't see enough professionals leaning into that development.
Right.
So why that scares me is because they shortchange themselves with the possibility of greater performance and greater results and a better quality of life and making more money, more freedom, more joy. But they're also going to find themselves falling short of really servicing the client in the best way possible. And that scares me.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that you're coming at this from such a different place than most people, because you really want to transform people from the inside out, not just I did this, I took this class, I got this certificate, and boom, now here the success is for me. You're about, let's start with the internal dialogue, right? Let's understand who you are, how you communicate, and then we can help you harness that to do the next thing. And I just want to applaud you for the type of work that you're doing, because it is so, I think, amazingly shifting the landscape of how people think about sales, right? And so I'm a huge fan, if you haven't figured that out, Jay. So I just want to say thank you. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about your talk show, because you are on the radio every single Sunday, and you've kind of amassed these bajillions of people who, obviously, as people are tuning in and they get it, you just draw people in, and you ask people to come on your show, and they are a wide variety of personalities. They're from all different kinds of demographics, from the small to the large and everything in between. And I would love for you to just talk a little bit about this kind of radio medium and how it's allowed you to kind of further your mission to help people stay connected and thrive.
When I started this about 2 years ago, which, by the way, the good news is that the show now has been picked up for syndication. It actually started its syndication run this week, the week that we're recording our show here. So that's pretty exciting. I'm going to be heard in the first rollout. These things get rolled out every 13 weeks. New Jersey, New York City, Boston, Atlanta, here in Dallas, Chicago, and San Francisco.
Fantastic.
So that kind of stuff only happens when you continue to consistently deliver quality and value and stay focused on that. And only good things happen when you stick to those disciplines. And when I started this show almost 2 years ago now in June, one of the things that I wanted to do is create a platform, Suzanne, that allowed every person, not just celebrities and not just some of those folks who've been on the show. Those are great people too, and they got great stories. But I wanted to have a platform where someone who is thriving, doing something good, they've got a great voice, whether it's a book or service or an initiative or a business or something that was worthy of the world hearing their message, that have the worries of cost, exuberant cost, which in media, you're going to have exuberant costs. I didn't want that for them. I wanted them to be able to have a platform where the world can hear their message. And whether you were a local individual or a national celebrity or an international person, it didn't matter. If it fit what I wanted to present to the public, you were going to get on the show. And that formula has worked. You said it earlier. I've had a range. I've had NFL Super Bowl champions to bestsellers to top global CEOs, Recently I had David Meltzer.
Yep.
I had Beyonce's father on the show, Dr. Matthew Knowles. So when I sit back and as I'm recording the shows, as I'm prepping for them and I'm recording them in studio and I'm talking to these individuals, it doesn't occur to me who they are. It doesn't. We're just human beings talking and sharing our lives. It's on the broadcast that I say to myself, I said, man, I just spoke to David Matthew Knowles. I just spoke to David Meltzer. I just spoke to Colonel Gregory Gatfield. 5 years ago, I would have never imagined speaking to these people. Right. Never. And the reason why they all come on the show, and this is important because this is for listeners to understand that quality drives quality. Quality attracts quality. None of these individuals, and there's so many more, they get asked to be on shows all the time.
Yes,
David Meltzer, right? You know, all the time they get asked, to the point that they ask you to fill out a questionnaire and they sort of check you out before they say yes, because they have thousands of requests. So one of the things that these guys have always said to me is, Jay, we checked you out, we saw your radio show, went to your website, and we would be proud to be on your show because you are delivering that quality content and it's professional, it's a great production. They would never be associated with anything flim-flam, right? Because it tarnishes their brand. So, but I sit back and I tell myself, man, this is fantastic. I'm interviewing those that are interviewing even bigger people than themselves.
That's right.
And that's because quality and consistency and focus, if you do it long enough, it pays off.
Yeah, but part of that too, though, Jay, is you're very humble, and yet you own your space, right? And that is kind of a unique skill set for people. So while you are constantly, you model exactly what you teach. Like, you're here, you want to be here. What do you have to do to get there? I mean, you and I have talked about this. We have similar clients in that kind of space, and we come at it differently, right? I come out of the creative entertainment field. You're coming out of more the sales field, but the principles are the same. And yet when you walk in a room, just like at that event we were at, you know immediately who has the same energy that you do and who has the stuff that you want to harness and or come alongside, right? And so in every circle, you expand that circle, and people want to be in that circle. And so you're constantly refining and honing and saying, okay, who makes me feel good after I was in their presence? Who lights me up? I can't wait to be on XYZ. One of the things that you and I talked about, I believe, was, you put on a list somewhere, I want to host or interview or be at lunch with, and then you constantly work every day to get to that place. And that should get you excited every day. And you model that. And that's why your show is so good. And if you haven't figured this out, you can check it out on your favorite internet radio station. But you should definitely go to Jay Maymi, find out more information. Listen, he's got all the archived episodes on there, and really just soak up his magic and his genius. Because again, you make people real, you connect them, and it just wants to draw people in ways that I just don't see very often.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Wow, what a commercial.
Well, I do my best.
I love it.
So I end every show asking the exact same question, fabulous answers, and I know yours will be stunning as well. If I asked you to define what it means to sparkle, what would you say?
Wow, okay, that's a great one. So I would say that sparkle is the ability to leave behind something that people will remember you for.
Ooh.
There's a talk that I give called How to Become Memorable and Stand Out from a Crowd. It's a funny talk. It's very engaging. But the point of that has a lot to do with sparkle. If you enter the room, and it could be crowded, or it could be halfway crowded, or maybe it's even not even just a few people in it, doesn't matter. But if you enter the room and leave and nobody knows you left,
right, exactly.
You didn't sparkle. In fact, you're probably a little rusty.
Yes.
A little rusty, a little dusty.
Yep.
Sparkling is the ability to bring something to the table that displays uniqueness, creativity, energy, something that is vibrant. And I think at the end of the day, it's leaving behind a mental footprint in the people you meet.
I love
If
that.
Yeah, if you're not leaving a mental footprint in the people that you meet, I think that is the epitome of lacking sparkle.
Yes.
I like the word sparkle.
Yep.
Right? But I think it's the same thing. It's being able to leave something behind so that people know you were there. That's the sparkle, at least in my definition anyway.
I think it's wonderful. Seriously. Okay, so check out the show notes. We're going to link to all the ways you can connect with Jay on social, to his website. We'll put a link to the radio broadcast so you can check it out. Jay, do you have anything coming up in the next couple months that we ought to be driving people towards if they want to find out more about you?
Yeah, I tell you, I'm very excited about the show going syndication. They can go to the JayMaymi.com, and they can also go to the JayMaymiTalkShow.com. Very excited about that. But we just launched a very unique creative sales training course. I saw what's out there in that industry, in that space, and I wanted to create something very different that dives into the nuances of psychology and communication and really help salespeople ratchet up their ability to get to the next level so they can go from novice to ninja, from mascot to master.
I love that.
And that's the ThriveSalesMastery.com, ThriveSalesMastery.com course. They can go there. I think the landing page will be, it speaks for itself. It's very, very engaging. But those are the two things that I'm focusing on right now. The hope that 2022 will grab a lot of people, change the way they think in a way that will improve their lives. That's what I'm focusing on right now with those
I
two
love
channels.
it. Seriously, so honored. Thank you for giving us this time today. I wish you only good things and congratulations on your syndication. Wonderful to have you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody, I want you to stay tuned in to our next episode because we're going to be featuring a mobile beauty business. Now, this woman, Ashley Stone, is taking the world by storm. She's been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine. She's amazing, and she's going to be our guest on the next Thought Leader Thursday. So be sure and tune in. I'm Suzanne Castle, and this is the Thought Leader Thursday.